We're going to break up our foreign policy debate into two parts. Joining us on part one, Ravi Shankar Prasad, Chief Spokesperson, former Union Minister, Deputy Leader of the Opposition in the Rajya Sabha, Prem Shankar Jha, one of India's preeminent journalists, KC Singh, former Secretary, Ministry of External Affairs, Sankarshan Thakur of the Telegraph newspaper. We will be joined by Ravi Rashid Alvi of the Congress in a few minutes. Gentlemen, it's quite direct. Sankarshan, why don't you start the debate? Are we getting kicked around in your view? BJP says we are getting kicked around. They talk about Sri Lanka, Maldives, Italy, Bangladesh, China, and Pakistan. You think we are getting kicked around?
I wouldn't quite use those strong words, Arnab, but I think we have certainly turned very, very patchy. I think we've muddled our way in the Maldives. In the case of the Italian Marines, we have sort of committed one blunder, then redoubled it with another blunder. In Pakistan, I really don't buy the argument of cutting off all communication. What else do you do? You have to deal with a troublesome neighbor. It is a neighbor that cocks a snook at you all the time. The Prime Minister comes and within 4 days they pass a resolution saluting someone who's been hanged for an attack on Parliament. So Pakistan is going to be a troublesome neighbor, but the way of handling that is to deal with that neighbor. Cutting off all communication is not going to be able to... You can't have war with Pakistan. I hope not.
No, so what are you finding faulty in the BJP's approach? What do you find faulty in the BJP's approach?
No, I merely said that I would not use the kind of language that Mr. Jaitley used as being kicked around. I think for a lot of reasons, India and the Prime Minister still remain very respected on the world stage for what they represent. But I think equally that we have hammed our way in the Maldives, in the way we have dealt with the Italian Marines, first picking them up for the wrong reason, then letting them go on a Christmas holiday. For God's sake, which prisoner or under trial is allowed to go on a Christmas holiday and then on another holiday to vote?
Why are you getting into why are you simply faulting the language used? Ravi Shankar Prasad, Sankarshan Thakur questions the language used.
I am faulting the language used because I think it is too strong.
You think it's too strong? Yes, Mr. Prasad. It's too strong. It's not the language of diplomacy. You shouldn't be using it.
Or no, I will go on a more fundamental analysis of the mismanagement, gross mismanagement of India's foreign policy. We hosted Pakistan's Prime Minister religious visit to Ajmer, who writes, "I have come to pray for world peace." Fidayeen attack in Kashmir, coupled with the most undesirable resolution by the Pakistan Assembly, almost extolling the virtues of Mr. Afzal Guru, and not a word about terrorist attack on India's parliament. Now let me give you three clear instances as to why the government of India's management of foreign policy leaves much to be desired, and then you will understand why the need for hard language. You have seen in the wake of Mumbai terrorist attack, we had 12 dossiers sent about Hafiz Saeed. Pakistan was saying we are pursuing the matter in the court, and your channel was the first to expose that even the basic documents implicating him in the Mumbai attack were not furnished to the Pakistani court.
That's right.
Deception number one. We have got a very eminent Home Minister who said about saffron terror and Hindu terror, we have never segregated terrorism on the basis of religion. He regretted that statement, but it was lapped up of Hafiz Saeed, publicly extolled the virtue of Indian Home Minister. And today, your channel has showed as to how his linkage is the sponsorship of attack in Kashmir yesterday, leading to the death of so many of Indian security forces. The third issue is very important, what Sankarshan raised. In case of Italy, we have got 2020 foreign nationals convicted in India in terms of Crime Bureau report. 1800 are male, about 200 are female. Why was such a great charity being shown, first a Christmas trip and then the right to vote? If an Indian is arrested in New York or England or Europe, is he given the same courtesy to celebrate Diwali and Eid? And the most fundamental issue is glossed over. What was the instruction of the government of India to its lawyer before the Supreme Court? My information says that the government of India did not object to a deception being practiced by the Italian ambassador before the Supreme Court.
What are you suggesting?
Now you don't know as to how the foreign policy is being managed.
No, are you saying we're deliberately
whole
going
point.
soft? Are you
A
suggesting
country
there is?
the
Are you
size of
suggesting,
India-
Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, that there is some sinister motive behind going soft?
Or no, I don't know. But we have the great example of Mr. Ottavio Cottarocchi, again one from Italy in the Bofors case. But let me not go beyond that except to say and repeat what was the advice of Government of India to its lawyer when the matter was being taken up in the Supreme Court. Why did not the Government of India oppose it? Why not the Government of India say here is a case of two Marines undergoing trial for murder of two poor innocent fishermen of Kerala?
Sure.
Why? What is the importance that they should be given that indulgence to go to vote in Italy? Now, these are important questions. Apart from Maldives, what is happening? Nepal is uncertain. Sri Lanka is uncertain. Therefore, the dominant objective of a foreign policy is the pursuit of India's interest.
Our third speaker.
Consistent with the global stature of India.
Our third speaker.
I regret to say there is a gross failure on that count as far as foreign policy under UP is concerned.
Mr. Prasad, before I go to our third speaker, Prem Shankar Jha, I want to say this to you with all earnestness. I don't want to provoke you right at the start. But I remember that on the 18th of April 2003, from Aar Paar Ki Larai, war to the finish, the quote on 18th was a new hand of friendship with Pakistan. And I completely remember, sir, as a reporter listening to Atal Bihari Vajpayee scribbled what he said. I want to quote it today. May 2003, well after Kargil, he says, to search for peace is no crime. Whether we succeed to or fail is a different matter. Who wants failure? But to search for peace is no crime. I question today whether you have been consistent in the past.
You want me to reply just now?
I throw open the floor to Prem Shankar Jha. I want to chew on it and I want to come back to you on that. Prem Shankar Jha, are these quotes relevant in today's context?
I think they're more relevant today than they were even in 2003. First of all, let me just remind Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad and all our friends on the right, including the ones you had yesterday on your program, that in 2003, the attack on Parliament had already taken place. The Prime Minister, who is the stellar person in the BJP, reached out with a hand of friendship. So today is the BJP completely repudiating the desire for peace and friendship, reaching out to a smaller neighbor and saying, look, whatever you have done in the past, please behave, join us in behaving responsibly and let's make peace. Are you repudiating that? Today, the BJP is involved in a race to the bottom. It's not just in this issue.
Race to the bottom?
On every single issue, yes, it's a race to the bottom. The BJP is only relying upon instigating the worst sentiments in the Indian people, and they're then challenging the Congress to match them in going lower and lower and lower, and to to use hate, to use anger, to use prejudice against neighbors, in fact, inside our country also. In every single thing, I find that the BJP does this, and then they lose 3.5%, 1/6 of their vote in 2009 over 2004, and they wonder why. I think
may I ask you, because I saw the hand go up, Ravi Shankar Prasad put his hand up. May I ask you to elaborate so it will be easier for him to respond? What you mean by saying that the BJP is catering to the worst sentiments of the Indian people? Would you please clarify, Mr. Prem Shankar Jha, what these worst sentiments are?
Yes, anger, a sense of inferiority, which is there in saying we are being kicked around. Then sort of religious prejudice. After all, Kashmiris are Muslims. Afzal Guru deserved to be hanged. BJP was right in the forefront of the demand for hanging Afzal Guru, irrespective of what it did to peace in Kashmir. And all that for a little bit of political advantage, which I predict now today they will not get.
Very strong words. Mr. K.C. Singh, I was about to come to you, but it's appropriate I go to Ravi Shankar Prasad. Anger, insecurity and religious prejudice cannot be the basis of foreign policy, says Prem Shankar Jha. Respond, Mr. Prasad.
I think, Arno, we were having a debate on the management or mismanagement of foreign policy, not the pathological hatred of Mr. Prem Shankar Jha against the BJP.
Pathological.
He's entitled for that. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to match his vitriolic against the BJP in the same language. I will not do that. Mr. Jha, please wait for your turn. I didn't disturb you. Please listen to me carefully and patiently.
It's all right, gentlemen. We'll have enough time.
Speaking about India's self-interest, if speaking about security of India against the scourge of terrorism is provoking anger, we don't bother. We have no problem with that. But we shall continue to speak for the interest of India. And we are very happy when we raised the two issues issued today in the two houses of Parliament. There was a unanimous resolution of Parliament reflecting the will of the country and widely applauded by all, regardless of how Mr. Prem Shankar Jha feels about
but
it.
she hasn't filed it. I'm
Now we talked about Mr. Bajpai. He has been our supreme leader. Agra failed or no because Mr. Musharraf failed to recognize the scourge of terrorism. And we did not mind Agra failing. 2003 happened. But ultimately what happened? 6 January 2004, for the first time, President Musharraf, after 63 years of Pakistan's birth, recognized an agreement with Mr. Bajpai that Pakistan shall not sponsor terrorism from across the border against India. A first acknowledgement by a Pakistani president that Pakistan has been doing that. That was the biggest success of Bajpai's foreign policy and BJP's led NDA's foreign policy. An agreement which the government of India under UPA forgot. We are trying to dovetail the foreign policy management qua Pakistan on the basis of that premise which Mr. Bajpai has laid. Namely, Pakistan must desist from sponsoring terrorism from its soil against India. That is not of anger, Mr. Prem Shankar Jha. That is not a rabid nationalism we are seeking to portray. That is cool, calculated India's national interest in the war against terror laid down by Mr. Bajpai. That is our benchmark. Or now you must try to understand. I gave specific instances in the initial comments of mine. Where is the seriousness and earnestness in the management of foreign policy?
No, but Mr. Prasad
can have a problem.
No, but Mr. Prasad,
he may not have a problem with. He may not have a problem of so many Indians being killed out innocently by terrorists from across the border.
He didn't say that.
He
didn't say that.
But Arnav, when we are talking of management of foreign policy, or when I'm talking of management of foreign policy, the national interest is the most important. Security of India is the most important.
No, you have been accused of putting foreign policy in a political context. I thought the basic thrust of Prem Shankar Jha's argument was you put foreign policy in a domestic political context. That was the thrust of his argument. As I don't know if I got him right. This debate between Prem Shankar Jha and Ravi Shankar Prasad will continue in a minute.
Let me respond,
gentlemen,
because he has used very hard expression against
us. He has used hard language against
Let me respond.
But he has the right to use it.
Yes, therefore I have got the right to respond. On the national television, I have got the right to respond. Pursuit of domestic policy of security for its citizens cannot be alienated from the management of foreign policy. That is the basic crux of the proper statecraft of any foreign policy. And you talked about India's role under Mr. Bajpai. Let me remind your viewers and Mr. Jha again, when we went for nuclear explosion, the whole world imposed sanctions. And Congress friends said India will have to even worry about its bread. And ultimately, Mr. Bajpai did not succumb to any pressure on NPT.
Yes, sir.
And the whole world lifted sanctions.
Yes, I agree.
That is how you secure national interest.
No, but why? We have got sucked. We have got our politics into our foreign policy. KC Singh, I remember that in 1994, I think Narasimha Rao sent Atal Bihari Vajpayee and Khurshid to the United Nations Human Rights Commission in Geneva, when Pakistan was trying to push there was a Pakistan-backed resolution against India. We managed to push back because the political parties came together. What's going on now, KC? And do you think we are getting kicked around?
Arnav, firstly, you're absolutely right. I think the communication between the ruling party and the opposition on foreign policy has broken down, and that's not desirable.
Yeah, it has.
And this is not recent. It's been going on for some time. The success or failure of any country's foreign policy, particularly India's foreign policy, will be determined in terms of your periphery. 1950-51, we put King Tribhuvan on the throne of Nepal. 1974, we annexed Sikkim. 1971, we created Bangladesh. 1988, we went in and chased the mercenaries out of Maldives. So your success or failure will be in the periphery. Let's take Pakistan. Now, both UPA as well as NDA, the leaders of both the parties have attempted to make peace with Pakistan. Both got kicked in their teeth.
Is
It
that
is
a
not
crime?
neither
Is
one
that a
nor
crime
the
to
other.
do that?
Both of them faced.